Good morning, good afternoon, or good night. This is Tatsuya TMA bringing you another Tatscast. This is a ranked match. This is actually the second time that I've done this cast, so I may or may not know some things that go down. First time I did it, file got corrupted when I was compressing, which is kind of a pain in the ass because it takes about 4 hours to compress. Anywho, let's get right into this game here. Drinking some cola. I'm going to be playing as Evelyn. This is the Masquerade Evelyn skin. Boom, boom, boom. This was actually bought for me from one of my friends, which was very nice of him. It was for Christmas. Thank you very much. So anyways, I will be playing Evelyn in the mid against Ryze. Now, if you go to something like championselect.net, which is a great website to go look up counters and whatnot, you'll notice that Ryze is the top quote-unquote counter to Eve. So this match is going to be focused on what do you do if you get counter-picked. Anyways, in the top lane, we are going to have our Nidalee versus their Rengar. In the bottom lane, we are going to have our Taric and Ezreal versus their Leona and Glyphs. And then in the jungle, they have a Maokai. We've got ourselves a Shyvana. So, in terms of this matchup, they definitely have a pretty solid and a beefy team with Maokai and Rengar up in the front, especially if Rengar builds beef, which he should. Ryze is a pretty beefy AP mid, as he can, since he scales off of mana, he can build some of those defensive mana items and really, really last through a lot of the team fights and soak up a decent amount of damage for an AP mid. And then Glyphs has his natural tankiness with his passive for an AD carry. Leona is a pretty beefy support. So they've definitely got a pretty beef-tacular team here. But anywho, we have a pretty mobile team with Ezreal. Eve is very mobile with her W. Nidalee is very mobile when she hits that bush and is in Cougar and starts pouncing. So, anyways, level 1, we're in the mid. I was countered. As you see, I was second pick. I picked Eve. I did not switch. I probably wouldn't have picked Eve if they had picked Ryze first, but they had the last pick, so they went ahead and picked the Ryze to try and counter me. Now Shyvana is coming in for the null gank. Gets herself rune prisoned. So what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of testing this Ryze. I want to see how much mana he's willing to use to harass, how quick he is to harass. So I'm seeing how close I can get to hate spike farm while seeing what he'll do in response to that. In terms of trades, if he gets a rune prison on me and then backs up a little bit out of my hate spike, he can get a rune prison. I forget the name of his Q. Overload, his Q, the red thing. He can get a rune prison and overload and the flux thing, his thing that bounces around, off on me before I can really get into him and move back, just because that's what Ryze do, yo. So I'm really testing to see how quick he is on that. 14 to 11. He is a little bit ahead of me. As I said, I'm definitely playing a little bit more reserved just because he does counter me a little bit. But still pushing up a little bit. As we see, we've got Nidalee up here pushing this Rengar. Bot lane. Seeing some action going down. But it just looked like it was a little bit of a trade. Let's go direct to camera. See what happens. I like to do the... And Shyvana getting caught in the jungle. Ryze is coming up. That rune prison is sure to mean certain death. And yes, he flashes in for the rune prison and overload for the first blood. Overblood for the first blood. Nidalee, how are you faring against Rengar? Nidalee is down in count to Rengar. Ez is up a little bit to Glyphs, nothing too much. But she is harassing her quite nicely. the flash in, the ignite. She's trying to put him down, but Maokai is there. The present goes down. He is given presents. Oh, and that present will pop on her. And Maokai will flash for the second blood. I don't know why that Nidalee flashed in to be right on top of him. She should have auto-attacked him a couple of times to see if he would retreat. Then maybe ignited and auto-attacked a couple more times. But she didn't have any wards. You don't want to waste your flash if you don't have any wards, because that jungler was actually right underneath her. She would have known that he was... Let me show you. If she had already gone back and put a ward right here, then she might be able to flash in and get that ignite and do all that funny business up here, because she would be able to see that there was no jungler down here. And Shyvana coming in on the Rengar. Rengar flashes. Throws the bola shot to slow him down. A little bit of an announcement after we see this 2v2. Graves completely ignoring this Ezreal, who's trying to poke away at him, but not doing too much damage right now. And unfortunately for us, fortunately for Graves, there were minions in the way, so we wouldn't really be able to Mystic Shot in and hit him. So he was keeping his distance there quite nice. And the Rune Prison goes down, but he does not get out of the way of the Hate Spike. The Ravage goes down, the ult goes down, the Ignite is down on Ryze. The speed goes, and the Hate Spike puts him down for Eve's first kill. So just to show you what happened wrong there. Oh, no, we're gonna... Come on now. Let's stay right on Eve here for a second. Let me show you what was good for me and what was bad for him. When he came in and Rune Prisoned, boom, he Rune Prisoned within the distance of Hate Spike. So he was still taking Hate Spike damage while Rune Prisoned. That's bad. You don't want to do that, Ryze players who are trying to counter Eve. And here's another thing that I realized pretty early on playing against this Ryze, is he obviously just went to Champ Select and picked the top counter to Eve. Like, that's great if you own a bunch of different champions and can technically counter people, but you want to make sure that you're actually good with them, especially against somebody that, if you're not good with a Ryze, that if Eve gets fed, it can be a problem. You know, you want to play somebody that you're comfortable countering somebody with. Anywho, back to the directed camera. And as I was saying with my announcement earlier, which I say on almost all my matches now, and this lane just loves doing this right when I want to give this announcement. Taric making it out alive. And they are pushing in on this Graves underneath the turret, but they will back off. Taric feigning the back, but staying in. And Maokai coming up for another gank. They do have the vision with the present. The Twisted Advance goes down. The Bola Shot goes down. The Ignite is on the Nidalee, but she's trying to jump away. Another Bola Shot goes down. And Maokai trying to ult and do as much damage as he can by popping it, but they will not be able to do enough damage to put her down. And she stays in the lane. Go back, Nidalee. Just kidding. You're just going to heal yourself and drop pots. Anyways, back to my announcement. www.twitch.tv/TatsuyaTMA. That is my live stream. I actually have a webcam up now. I had one up before, but I didn't have enough light in my room, so it just looked like I was some, dark, random, creepy dude. But I will be keeping my webcam up now, as I have enough light in my room, so it does not look crazy. Or I don't look as crazy. So if you want to actually see what I look like, feel free to stop on by. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but, I've realized even whenever I watch streams, I tend to kind of gravitate towards the ones that have webcams, because you can see people's reactions to things, and it's nice. Taric ulting for no apparent reason. And there is a war in that bush, so they did see him fail ult. I'm pretty sure he did not mean to hit that button. And because the song was not sung last time, and because I always sing it in the ranked match. Like a good jungler, she gives a blue. Give it. But, because I don't know if you noticed on the first one, but she accidentally took it. She was going to give me the first blue, but she didn't. That's not very nice. So yeah, feel free to stop by my stream. The more the merrier. I like to talk to people, try and This Rengar getting melted by the Shiv gank. He just sat in way too much damage. Nidalee switched to that Cougar form really early, got to swiping the tank down, and was just sitting in, taking all of Shyvana's AoE damage as well as her extra Q hit. And this is giving some nice poke here, staying out of the way of the buckshot while still getting some auto attacks off on that Graves. Good job, Ezman. Maokai coming in on this Nidalee. Nidalee, don't hit him. Don't take the turret hits. Takes one turret hit. Takes one too many turret hits, and Maokai will put her down again. 0-2. That Maokai is just the bane of this Nidalee's existence. So yeah, my stream. Whoa, Maokai, you upgraded your boots real early. Actually, now that I think about it, Homeguard's pretty good for a jungler early because it just allows you to get back into the jungle and back into the ganks, and Taric is ulting in on this Graves. The Arcane Shift comes down. Oh, and the Ezreal comes out to finish him off. And Eve comes down to secure the kill on Leona. That is a double kill. Well, not actually a double kill. Ez got one. Eve got one. The people that need to get the kills are getting the kills. The AD carry and the AP carry. So it's one of the things that I've said in my other Eve video is you want to really change the way that a game happens is you want to gank a lot, especially when you have a blue. And the reason why is because having a blue will allow you to ravage and hate spike the lane. And the hate spike's going down, the ravage going down, but realizing I'm taking too much damage and the ignite was down, I decided to back away. However, if I had realized how low his mana was, I probably could have stayed in and potentially finished him off, but I did not have my ult up, as you see. But yeah, when you have a blue, what you want to do is you want to, which I'm not doing right now because I have pretty low health, so I wouldn't really be able to gank, is you want to just hate spike and ravage to push the lane and go gank an overextended lane. Like, this is a perfect gank opportunity, especially because he's only got a green down, which means he wouldn't be able to see me come right up into his lane. Down here, they do have a pink, so they'd be able to see me walk through the river, so that one would be a little bit tougher to gank. But that's what you do with Eve. That's what you do with, it's not even just with Eve, but Eve can do it very well because she's so mobile and can walk through green wards. Is if you can shove your lane and gank, it just, even if you don't get the kills, you're going to get the assists, and your other lanes will get kills, and it just allows your other lanes, especially the ones that might be hurting, to win lanes. Oh, switch out a Kitty and auto attack him. Looks like we might be seeing a dive up top. And the Shyvana ults in. Trying to chase after the Rengar, but gets bullet shotted. However, Kitty's coming in. The takedown. Oh, the swipe misses. The jump. Needs one more auto attack. The ignite is down on the Nidalee. Rengar sitting at barely any health. Nidalee taking way too much damage. Oh, Nidalee, that could have gone so much better. If she had just simply switched out. What she should have done here is she should have switched out of Kitty right about here and just thrown a spear, and he had barely any health. She is going AD, however, just one spear when they have practically no health will take him out. It's crazy. It's Leona wrapping around into a little bit of a trap, but she will just make it out to her turret just fine. Taric and Ezreal, after taking that turret, are just lurking. And Ryze trying to stop the coming down to the dragon. They are pinging for this Ezreal, and now they are going for dragon. There is 4 of them, however, there is 4 of us. It would be a 4-on-4. Oh, clump up. Clump up. This is an Eve-ult just waiting to happen. Oh, and they all clump up. The Eve-ult goes down, and the Ezreal ult comes across through all of them. The hate spikes are going through. Double kill, triple kill for Eve. Oh, so much power and so much AoE damage. They just clumped up straight for that Eve ult. Oh, that was powerful. So, as I was saying, I wanted to talk a second here about some items. I'm going to pause it. I'm trying to get used to talking about the items throughout the game a little bit more, just so you can kind of, because it's really a big thing in Season 3, is with there being such a I'll play it while this happens. While there's such a diversity in items that you can build, it's really important to know what to build and when and why. I'm going to try and focus a little bit more on items through some of my casts. So, right here, I went for the early Deathfire. With the last nerf at the end of Season 2, rushing a Deathfire wasn't really worth it because it wasn't scaling as high and didn't do as much damage. However, now it's 15% no matter what, and it increases the magic damage that they take for 20% for 4 seconds. Plus, it's 100 ability power and 15% cooldown reduction. So all around, it's a great item. It's a really good item to rush. Because it gives you, especially if you're doing well in the lane. I won't rush this if I'm not doing well in the lane. I might go with an Abyssal just for that extra defense against the AP mid, for the extra defense, and it's a pretty good damage increase, especially since she's going to be right on top of somebody within the Abyssal range, so it will lower their MR. But because I was doing pretty well, had a couple of kills under my belt, and one of my first backs I had enough to get the Needlessly Large, as it builds out of a Needlessly Large now, I went ahead and got the Needlessly Large and rushed it because, you know, especially since, like I said before, their team is beefy. They have, you know, with the Ryze mid who, as we see here, you know, has his Catalyst. He's already starting to build the beef. Where's the beef? Leona is a tanky support. Maokai is a tanky jungle. Rengar is a tanky top. You know, with all these beefy people, I knew that I would need the Deathfire eventually. So I figured, you know what, might as well rush it. Ryze going for a pretty standard build here with the Catalyst and the tier. He is 2-2, and I'm 5-0. So my guess is he'll probably turn it into a Banshee's Veil rather than a Rod of Ages first. But that could just be some spoiler alert because I've already watched this match like 4 times. Nidalee going straight for beef right here. Not really building too much AD. She is going AD Nidalee. She doesn't have any AP, and she's probably going to build my guess is a Moggs first. But even without too much extra AD items, she still outputs a lot of damage. And we are seeing a 1v1 engage. Oh, and the Maokai Twisted Advance is down, but the Cleanse goes down for Ez, and the Arcane shifts out, but the Rune Prison is down from Ryze. Oh, but the Evo goes out trying to put down the Ryze. The Ryze goes down, now trying to move out. And the flash away, but Maokai Twisted advances in. The Leona comes in on this Taric, and Eve puts down the double kill on the Leona. But in the meantime, gets shut down by the Maokai. Graves flashes over the wall. Shyvana trying to do anything that she can, getting to that fight a little bit late. Unfortunately, I did go down. However, I pulled off taking out 2 of them before I went down. I knew that I was going to go down when I was caught by that Taric. Saw that Leona was really low, so I decided, you know what? I'm going to take her out with me. I might as well if I'm going to go out instead of trying to run. So yeah, as we were talking about some items, it's pretty standard support items here. Leona actually doesn't have any boots yet, which is makes her, you know, her having mobility because she has so much CC. It's a nice little trick. Her having a lot of mobility because she has so much CC can be really vital. So I don't really like the fact that she hasn't bought any boots yet. Granted, she is 0-3, but she has, you know, the 4 assists. She's probably a little bit down in gold. What is she at in comparison? 30-30 to 38-40. Yeah, so she is down in gold to this Taric, but she definitely should have bought some boots at some point. At least boots of speed. And Graves getting absolutely annihilated, walking into the tri-bush, not knowing that Eve and Taric were there. He had no chance to react. And I did not use my ult on that because it was not necessary. However, I did pop the Deathfire just to make sure he didn't make it out. So yeah, granted, the early Ruby Sightstone is definitely a very necessary thing, as it allows you to get 3 wards out, especially during this mid-game time, because you definitely want a lot of ward coverage during this time, as if you can catch anybody out of place or see where the enemy team is, it is very, very, very strong, and that's where wards win games. So getting the early Ruby Stone is definitely important, but her having a little bit more mobility, I think, would be more important. So maybe getting Boots of Speed and keeping your Sightstone and just buying a couple of wards probably would have been a little bit more beneficial, as she's just not mobile right now, as opposed to Taric, who has Boots. And Maokai Twisted Advance in on the Eve. He will throw the ult up. Look at the pretty Christmas trees. Ezreal working towards that Trinity Force. I've tried it a couple of times, and I saw Chaos do it on Ezreal, which is building an Iceborne Gauntlet on him instead of a Triforce, and I love it. Any Ezreal players, try building an Iceborne Gauntlet. It's great because Mystic Shot procs in AoE slow and AoE damage. It's amazing. And it gives him ability power. So you're getting that slow, you're getting armor as well as more mana. Like, it's just a great item. And this Leona getting caught out, throwing the exhaust down on the Shyvana. She was just trying to put the ward down, trying to lead with that ult, but not hitting anybody. Ryze trying to come in to help her, but will not be able to do it in time. The Leona going down to Shyvana and Taric eventually. Back to the items. So Taric has the Emblem of Valor, which is actually a pretty nice item for the mid-game dance, as well as it's a great early. Oh, and Nidalee coming in, tossing the Ignite, the takedown, and the swipe, all on the Rengar, putting him down at that turret, and now that allows her to push that turret. Taric getting caught out with the Rune Prison and the Twisted Advance, but now Eve coming in and ulting down on the Ryze and the Graves, however, having to back out as she was taking a lot of damage. Oh, and the Ezreal will go down to the Ryze. So yeah, that early Emblem of Valor on a support is a great item. One, in laning, just gives it a little bit of extra health regen, allows you to be a little bit more aggressive as you have that extra health regen, and of course it builds into the Aegis, which can be key, especially in the mid-game team fights. That extra armor and MR is pretty crucial. I got the Haunting Guys. Really like the early Haunting Guys on a lot of AP mids, just because, one, it actually builds into something now, so you won't be selling it later. I think I talked about it in my last cast, where I said, I don't really like building it into the Leandries right away, as I see Leandries as more of a later mid to late game item, but I like the extra beef, the little bit of extra AP and magic pen from the Haunting Guys, and a blasting wand, because that's probably all I could afford. Ezreal still trying to finish up the Trinity Force versus the Graves, who still does not have the IE, so neither AD carry finishing off their first real item yet. However, I believe Ezreal should be ahead on gold, 5870 to... Oh no, Graves is ahead on gold. I apologize. No, actually, that makes sense. He's got more stuff in here. And the Twisted Advance goes down on the Ez. He's getting caught again. He tosses the cleanse, but a little bit too late. He should have cleansed out of that first Twisted Advance, and Arcane shifted away, and now there are 4 pushing in against this Nidalee. And they're looking to dive this Nidalee, but she is so beefy. The Evil comes out, focusing down on the Ryze, and Ryze will go down to Nidalee, now turning in on this Leona and Maokai. Rengar coming down from the top, but the team splitting off towards the Rengar. So that ended up being pretty much a 1v1 exchange. Ezreal going down, but Ryze going down as well. And now this Shyvana trying to make it out. She's trying to counter jungle and just taking all of the damage that Rengar was outputting. And Leona coming in for no reason. The one Ravage from Eve will put her down. Leona, why did you come back in? Did you not realize that Eve was there? That was crazy talk. And now another dragon goes to blue. All dragons have gone to blue so far, I think. Blue team has slain the dragon. Ezreal finally finishing up that Trinity Force. However, Graves is finishing up that IE. I actually like, I've said this in some of my Graves videos, I like going Bloodthirster first on Graves. I don't know, it feels better. I just like it more. You know what I'm saying? Nidalee going for the Atmog's combo. Graves pushing in on the turret, but the Eve was there. I don't think he realized that Eve was there and full comboed him down before he could really do any damage to the turret, getting himself another kill. And by himself, I mean herself, but himself technically because it's me and I'm a dude. Nidalee walking face first. She has that Mog. She is soaking up a ton of damage, but the rest of the team was not there. She does flash out, but Ryze will shut her down. Nidalee, what are you doing, you crazy pants? Here's a little tip, and I always forget this. You see here, Nidalee just recently bought this Avarice Blade. If you know, or if you plan on going Atmogs, which is a Warmogs and an Atmas, as both have a lot of synergy together. We will talk about this in a second once this fight is done. There will not be a fight. Leona will miss her ult. The Twisted Advance had gone down on the Taric, but the rest of purple team did not engage. However, they will get a turret out of it. And the stun goes down on Leona. Eve comes in and ults all three. Ezreal puts down the Leona as she is in front and now starts working down on this Maokai. Eve barely walking out, but throwing the hate spike in behind to put down the Maokai. I have no idea how that stun worked, or the Banshee's Veil did not pop on any of that. That did not make sense. Might have been a little bit of a bug there, as the stun did go down, and Ezreal put down the Ryze again, further feeding himself, now at 4-3. And Eve walking away with another kill. That's what I was doing. I was buying a death cap. Probably just had enough for the blasting wand. So as I was saying before that fight broke out, if you know that you're going to go Atmogs, Atma's now, it used to build out of a, what the hell's the name of the item? Agility cloak? The crit cloak thing, whatever. It used to build out of the agility cloak and a chain vest. However, now it builds out of an Avarice Blade and a chain vest. So if you know that you're going to get it, what you want to do is get the Avarice Blade early, because it will allow you to get the extra 2 gold per 10, as well as each of your minion kills will do more. Eve and Taric catching this Rengar in the jungle will put him down. But now slightly overextended. The Leona ult goes down. The Rune Prison goes down. They are trying to do everything he can to put down this Taric. Will he go down? No, he's still making it out. Oh, but the Overload comes in just in time. And now Shyvana back in it. Seeing that the Shyvana comes in, Eve comes back in, starts hate spiking. Oh, and the Ezreal comes out just across Leona to put him down. And the double kill for Ezreal. There is a Ryze still in the jungle. I think that there's a glitch with the animation on this Banshee Veil, as it is not blocking anything. Probably need to update my something. Don't know. So that was definitely a team fight in favor of the blue team, as 4 of them went down, and I believe we only lost our support, Taric. So yeah, the Avarice Blade. It gives you an extra 2 gold per 10, plus every time you kill a minion, it gives you an extra 2 gold. It's like a free TF passive. So it's great to get early because it'll allow you to get an advantage that you need. Or if you already have an advantage, it allows you to maintain it. And you're going to build it into an Atlas, so it's not like it's just a worthless item that you're going to sell off later. The Rengar was ulted. Who's he going to be jumping on? Oh, and this Nidalee trying to put down this turret. But the other team just has so much CC, throwing it all down. Oh, and the Leona ult, the Graves ult comes across and will put down this Nidalee. Blue team now trying to retreat. However, most of their CC is down. Probably back up now. At least a Twisted Advance on the Rune Prison. They have just so much ability to lock people up. Rune Prison, Twisted Advance, the Bola Shot, the Leona. And the Evo comes across all of them. The Shyvana comes across. And the Ezreal goes all the way across all of the purple team. They are just getting work down. This Eve just doing work across their entire team, as well as the Ezreal. Ezreal flashing, trying to catch them, but Graves will flash away. Ezreal getting 1 kill, Eve getting another kill. These team fights are just going so in favor of blue team. With the Eve ult to slow them all down, Ez has the good timing to throw his ult across the beginning of each of the team fights, and then the hate spike. They're just lining up for the hate spikes and allowing Ezreal and Eve to just slowly work through their teams. And with that Deathfire, whoever's up front is just going to get absolutely melted. Oh, and the Eve ult comes out, going in 1v2 for no apparent reason, and Leona shutting down the Eve. Why did I do that? I'm going to tell you. Oh, we're going to back up again. Why would you go to right there? Let me tell you why. It was roughly around this time that my roommate came in. I've played with him before, Sandpaper Koala. He's been in some of my casts. And he said, go in on this Graves. You won't. And I said, oh yeah? So I went in on him. And he called me a crazy man. I went down for it. It was stupid. I was feeling way too strong. I was at 12, 1, and 9 and feeling very, very powerful. So that was definitely a case of greed. 100% greed. Purple team does not have any vision on this Baron right now. And they are just giving it away for free. This Rengar definitely very overextended right now. Oh, and getting slowed by a red. And Taric, the walk away, the fade away stun. Taric comes in. There's no way that Rengar would have made it out unless he had his ult up potentially, and I don't think Taric wanted him to get away. Purple team finally securing a dragon, seeing that the entire blue team was up top. So I finish off my Leandries. Now the chain vest is, I bought the chain vest because once I start to get pretty fed as an Eve or as, you know, a lot of different people, I like to get the GA just because it ends up more than just simply bring you back to life. It also, for some reason, people can't focus you as much because they know you're just going to come back in. So if they just focus you, somebody like an Ezreal or a Shyvana is still going to be sitting on your face. Oh, and this Ryze getting caught out in the jungle. And now Eve dashing in all by her lonesome, throwing down the ult, trying to make it out. And will flash over the wall, but at the same time, Shyvana and Nidalee catching that Graves. Purple team just getting completely separated. Nidalee now putting down the Maokai. Oh, purple team, purple team, purple team. As you see here, blue team has got their entire upper jungle warded, so we saw everywhere that they were, and we caught them completely out of place. Purple team only has Baron and Dragon warded, which is pretty worthless, especially because they had to have known roughly the time period that we got the Baron. So let's go to full vision here. They had to know roughly the time period that we got the Baron, so it wouldn't be another 7 minutes until it was up, so they really didn't need to ward the Baron. If anything, that's to see when we cross the river. But warding up their jungle and playing defensively would definitely have served them a much greater purpose. Oh, and this Maokai trying to do everything that he can. And Graves goes down to the Nidalee and Eve. Their AD carry is gone. It looks like Rengar was trying to focus down the Taric. Ryze trying to focus down this Ezreal, but just does not have the damage to do it. And purple team going down. Blue team just showing how much dominance they have over this game right now. They have a 16k gold lead and just completely showed it. They split them. Blue team split up the purple team right there. Nidalee and Eve focusing down their AD carry. Ezreal doing what he does best and kiting the crap out of the Ryze until the rest of the team could collapse in on the others. They had a beefy team, but they were just way too behind throughout this entire game to really make it through any of those team fights. And you know what? There were some key moments there where some wards definitely would have helped. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed the cast. Again, feel free to stop by my Twitch stream, www.twitch. That's twitch.tv/Tatsuya, TMATATSUYATMA. Please make a Twitch account so that I can actually chat with you. There is a chat if you've never been on Twitch. Whenever I play, I like to leave it up on my second screen so that I can kind of respond to any questions or respond to anybody that's in there. But come on by. So hope you enjoyed the cast. There'll be more to come. Bye, 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 bye.